Hey everybody, want some more exciting news? We're developing the Kane Chronicles as feature films for Netflix. Yes! More news soon.
Hello, good people of the internet. Just a quick disclaimer, I will be showing fan art in this video. If I found the artist that originally created the art, I will post a link to one of their social medias down below. I'm not trying to take credit for any of their art. None of this is mine. I'm not trying to sell it as my own. I'm not trying to claim it as my own. I'm just putting this disclaimer just in case, because we love to support the artists. Anyway, I had no plans of making a video tonight, but Riordan decided to make the major announcement this morning that the Kane Chronicles are getting movie adaptations on Netflix. And this completely took me by surprise. Back in May, Rick and his wife Becky made the major announcement that we had been waiting for months. Percy Jackson and the Olympians is getting a live-action series adaptation on Disney+, starting with season 1 that will cover the Lightning Thief. Little did we know that the entire time we were focused on that, Rick had also been working on getting a Kane Chronicles adaptation off the ground. Some of the first thoughts that went through my head when I first heard the news were kind of random, but still very, very important regarding the subject of these shows and movies. Which leads me to my first thought. Why is the Kane Chronicles going on Netflix instead of Disney+? Or the better question I realized later is, why specifically put Percy Jackson, the Olympians on Disney+, and then let the Kane Chronicles be on a completely different platform? Shouldn't they all be on the same platform? Like, wouldn't that make more sense just for the universe in general? I don't know. I don't know what they're all planning, but this is Rick we're talking about, and we have to trust him. So maybe one day they'll all be on the same service, but right now, Percy Jackson's going to be on Disney+, and the Kane Chronicles is going to be on Netflix, so let's roll with it. For now, though, I do think I have the answers to why they are on different platforms. The whole reason Rick had to fight so hard to get an adaptation with Disney was because of his prior contract with 20th Century Fox, which is now 20th Century Studios, because of, renaming and rebranding happens all the time. Percy Jackson, the Olympians was given to 20th Century for them to basically just do whatever they wanted with them, which was a big mistake, but we already know that story. I'm not going to waste too much time on it. 20th Century was bought by the Disney company at, I think it was the beginning of 2019, which immediately led Rick Riordan fans to believe that there was hope for a new and better Percy Jackson the Olympians adaptation. Rick had been hinting at the possibility of a new era of films since then, and it wasn't until the end of 2019 that he announced that he was actively trying to get a series off the ground through Disney. Because before then, it had all been gray area of like, okay, well, now that Disney owns Fox, does that mean that they have full rights to, do whatever they want with all of the movies that Fox has rights to? Like, we don't know. So, well, now we do, but back then we didn't. With the successful release of Disney Plus originals like The Mandalorian and the High School Musical series, it was no surprise that Rick would try to do this. High budget plus original content equals big money for Disney, and we know Disney loves their money. So, where are we now? A Percy Jackson TV series officially in the works, probably not out for another 3 years-ish, maybe longer. Rick is currently working on the pilot script, as he posted on Twitter a while back. We all saw it. And, a very, very happy fandom for what is a very, very unhappy year. And then this morning, the bombshell. The Kane Chronicles is going on Netflix. But again, why Netflix? First off, Percy Jackson didn't even have the chance to go on Netflix. With the contract still under 20th Century, which is now under Disney, there was just no plausible way it would be able to go to any other streaming platform unless 20th Century gave up the rights to the series, I think. I'm not an expert on movie contracts and stuff, but just from context clues and logical reasoning, I imagine something along those lines was going on behind the scenes to where if they didn't give up the contract, then it was staying with them and no other streaming platform could use it. Second point as to why it's on Netflix. Rick never promised us that all of his other books were going to get movies and shows too. We just accepted, okay, we have Percy now, it's in the works, we're excited for this, we know you're working with it, and we love you for that, we're hyped, and we'll wait as long as we need to because we know you're going to do this right. I just assumed that because this fandom is huge and worldwide, that after the release of the Percy Jackson TV show, it would get such a big following and such large support from fans that Disney would go ahead and sign the other books into contract and make them into TV shows for Disney Plus. And maybe even like one day a theme park? Please, please, please. Oh my god, I want a theme park so bad. Like, Harry Potter has one. Like, why can't we get one? Come on, that's not fair. And I'd pay a lot of good money to go to a Percy Jackson theme park. Just saying. Anyway, this meant that the possibilities of everything else getting an adaptation was still up in the air. We were being told one series for his most famous book series. Nothing else, as of yet. Okay, cool. Cool beans. But it never occurred to me that since the other 4 major series Rick Riordan has written have no contracts bound to any film companies, that there is a chance that they could end up on different platforms instead of Disney Plus. So this actually makes a lot of sense. The Kane Chronicles had everything laid out for them to be on a streaming platform other than Disney. You could have had several corporations going after it, and because it didn't have the prior obligation like Percy Jackson did, there's a chance it could land somewhere else. It's kind of annoying when you're an actual consumer and you have to make sure that you actually own all the platforms that's going on. But, Netflix is established in many more places than Disney Plus is right now. So Netflix actually has a bit of a lead on this. But again, Percy Jackson is kind of stuck on Disney because Disney owns 20th Century. And that's where Percy Jackson was originally bound. So, stuck with that. I'm not sure if Rick tried to get the Kane Chronicles on Disney Plus 2, or maybe Netflix came to him with an offer back in October when he said that this has been going on since October. Rick, why didn't you tell us, sir? You're just gonna randomly drop this on a Saturday morning and freak the entire fandom out. I respect, though. Regardless of whether it was offered to him on Netflix or if he tried for Disney Plus and got turned down, it's going on Netflix. That is, if Netflix can keep itself together. It's kind of under a lot of controversy right now, which, when hasn't that happened to a major corporation? I'm not going to go into that, but I will tell y'all that I've seen parts of the Umbrella Academy on Netflix. I haven't seen every single episode, but I know that's based on a graphic novel or a comic book. I googled it and it's a comic book, but my friend that actually read it called it a graphic novel, so I don't know. I haven't read the graphic novel, but the show is very, very high production and very, very well done, just like The Mandalorian. So, it's not that I'm worried that it won't have any good graphics or anything. It's just, we don't want a repeat of what happened to Percy Jackson and the Olympians. So, the second big question I had this morning when I found out the news was, how are they going to do the crossovers? Okay, if you didn't know this, there are 3 short stories that Rick Riordan wrote that have Carter and Sadie in it and Percy and Annabeth in it. These 3 short stories can be bought individually as ebooks or as the physical copy of Demigods and Magicians, which also still contains the cover art for the original short stories if you bought them on ebook when they first came out, which is really cool because we love to see some art in this family. Now, this is all assuming that both the Percy Jackson and the Olympians adaptation and the Kane Chronicles movie adaptation become very successful and that they are going to do the crossovers. But if Percy Jackson is on Disney Plus and the Kane Chronicles is on Netflix and the crossovers aren't legally bound to anything right now, I don't know if it would count as either Percy Jackson or the Kane Chronicles. So would Disney and Netflix just start fighting over who got the rights to make all the big money because those 3 short stories are really action-packed and would make a lot of money? But yeah, really curious to see how that will play out. The last thing I thought about when I heard the announcement this morning, and this isn't as much of a worry for me as I know it is for other people because I have seen a lot of stuff on Twitter today, which people, calm down. I am talking about casting. Oh my gosh, this fandom loves freaking out about casting. And rightfully so, because we were chipped on 12-year-olds in The Lightning Thief, and ever since then, it's been like, oh my god, we're not going to survive this. Like we like to say, Logan Lerman is the prime example of being at the right place at the wrong time. So, like, okay, y'all, calm down. Rick has stated several times when talking about the Percy Jackson, The Olympians adaptation that he told the people at Disney, we do this right or not at all. I assume he did the same thing with Netflix when that whole deal worked out. Again, I don't know if he went to Netflix or if Netflix went to him for the Kane Chronicles, but we all know Rick does not want a repeat of what happened with the first Percy Jackson movies. So I can assume that he told Netflix the same thing, like, hey, we're doing this right or not at all. I know there's been a lot of worry recently about like the Avatar The Last Airbender live action and how the creators have left that, and now it's like, what in the world are they doing? Which I'm also on board with, like, what are you doing? You're being stupid. And there was a lot of backlash for that. And right now, Netflix is facing a lot of backlash. So if they want to cover their butt and make money, they're going to do this correctly. Just saying, it's the only logical thing to do. So we know Rick will be involved with as much of the casting and other important film decisions as possible. These won't be for probably till the end of next year when all this stuff goes down, but we do know that he's trying very, very hard to be present every step of the way. Right now, that's a little hard to be physically present, but yeah. Rick will be there for all the major film decisions, and that includes casting, all right? Mark my words. That means casting people of the right age and the right background. Anyone who knows anything about the Kane Chronicles, which if you don't, where are you here? Not that I'm giving spoilers, it's totally okay that you're here, I'm not trying to say that. But as 99% of us know with the Kane Chronicles, the main characters, Carter and Sadie Kane, are a brother and sister pair in a mixed family. Carter resembles their father, dark skin and curly hair, and Sadie resembles their mom with blonde hair and a British accent. If you didn't know, this can happen in real life. It's not very common, but it's still possible. My mom is a retired hairdresser, and when I first told her about the Kane Chronicles years ago when I read them, I was describing to her about how Sadie looks a lot like the mom, even though you think that she'd look more like a mix between the two, because you don't see that a lot. And my mom was like, oh yeah, that's possible. I've seen interracial couples that end up having a child that has blonde hair. It's typically very, very curly, but it's still very possible. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then now that I'm actually currently taking a genetics class, and that is very possible, but just not very common. That being said, Sadie Kane is still mixed. Her father is black and her mom is white. Just Putting it plain and simple. I am very, very confident that Rick is going to do his best to make sure that a girl is cast that resembles the character that, you know, we've all come to know and love and treasure, because Sadie Kane is so great, y'all. She's honestly has the same levels of sass as Percy. Like, I think her first line in her first chapter is "Give me the bloody mic," because her and Carter are recording the series and she wants in on it. It's just so great. I love her personality. It's the best. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to Sadie, looking forward to Carter, who is super, super smart, and I'm all about that stuff. You know, he's all like into his like Egyptology stuff, like his dad, and like, you know, I respect. I totally do. Like, yeah, I can't wait to see the two of them on the big screen. It's going to be so great. At the end of the day, in about 3 to 4 years, we'll likely be seeing our first look at the Red Pyramid and Carter and Sadie kicking some Egyptian mythology butt. It's going to be great. I know things are very, very, very early. Stop bugging Rick on Twitter and Instagram and all those social media outlets. It's too early, but it'll be worth the wait. I'm super excited. I think this is going to be great. I'm glad the Kane Chronicles are getting the love they deserve. This announcement, I feel like, kind of fell under the radar compared to the Percy Jackson announcement. But you know what? They're still going to get the love they deserve, and I can't wait to see it. Hey, everyone, that is it. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and be kind to each other.